I don't go to no woman's store. There you go. Tom Hobbs.
Yes, as Marjane shared there, I was raised north of Denver, out in the country. We had none of these things that you all back east there, like trees. We have none of that. So we have a view we can see. No rain, no humidity. But we had a few cows, a few cowboys, and I had Uncle Russell. Uncle Russell could retell a tale in a way that, well, very few could. And so as I think at times in my younger years and how they've affected me today, I think of Uncle Russell quite often. And this is how he wrote down a poem that was actually done by Waddy Mitchell. And Waddy, well, he's inspired many of us. And so with Uncle Russell's bit of a chicken scratch on here, I may have to just a few words, but this is how Uncle Russell shared his story on an event. Well, I've never been much for shopping. And the fact is, I never much go to town except for when it's shipping time and you don't see much of me. I try to move around and not be found. But the day came when I had to go into town. So I said bye to the kids and Mom. But before I left, bent down and gave her a kiss. But she goes, do me a favor. Go buy me a bra. Well, I kept on going and I didn't hesitate. I just kissed her, said goodbye, and I thought that'd be no problem. Well, I worked most of the day getting around town, got most things handled, and no coddle wobbling happened because I knew I had to go straight across the street to that there women's store. I had no chance. I pulled my hat down low so most people couldn't see my eyes. I didn't want to get recognized, you know. People talk, you know. I've heard it more than once. Well, I walked right in there, that women's store, and walked right up to that clerk. Says, yes, ma'am, I'm here to buy a bra. Are you sure, sir? Well, yes, I am. My wife said so. Yes, sir. I'm here to buy a bra. Well, I heard snickerings behind me. There was 15 women back behind me. Well, I stayed on task. They kept looking around, but I did. I kept on going. I just scratched my head a bit and says, I don't know what kind it is. I've only seen one kind before. Well, she just snickered at me and says, sir, there's a lot of learning for you to be doing. Follow me. And well, like a puppy dog, I did. Followed her down the aisle and came up to this lingerie aisle. My jaw box hit the ground. I'd never seen such many things all in one spot. There was colors and shapes, things I never knew of. Well, she proceeds to tell me a little bit. They got bras for all kinds. I didn't know about that before. They got kinds that are styles that shape and lift. They got styles that are for all kinds of things. They got bras you can wear for 18 hours. Bras that like you've never wearing nothing at all. Some that even separate and lift. And they even got some for, they call it training when you're still pretty small. Well, I finally did make up my mind. I picked up that black and white lacy one up there. That looked just fine, I said. Then she goes, well, what size, sir? Well, I knew exactly what to say there. See, I knew. See, it was actually 6 7/8. 6 7/8, she says. Yeah, 6 7/8. I know. I checked last night. I measured them myself. Yeah, you see, it's the same as my hat size. Well, the snickering started behind me, and she kept on going. Them women kept wanting to borrow my hat to figure out what size a cup really is. Well, I figured it was fair. I measure them just the same, but she said she'll figure it out and find a way to explain it. Well, that crowd, they'd been snickering and they've all been talking. And, you know, I turned and offered to pay as I walked out. She accepted the money. I tipped my hat. And, you know, my wife heard from all 15 of those ladies long before I ever got home. Each one of them had called, and she was a little bit mad, I have to admit. But you know what? She don't ask me to go shopping in those women's stores ever no more. Now that's the way Uncle Russell told the story. And you can look up Waddy Mitchell on YouTube. He told that story one night to Johnny Carson, and even Johnny Carson turned a wee bit red. Yeah, it's worth your look up. He and a few other good cowboy poets like Baxter Black and others. Baxter tells a story about growing a garden and pulling out the carrots and all the veggies, ripping them out of the ground. It's a vegetarian's nightmare. It really was. So check it on out. But I'm going to ask you, what's a story that you heard way long ago when you were young? Maybe about a half pint, your hat's down over your ears a bit too, that still affects you today. How you look at life, how you treat people, maybe even how you tip your hat to the mail lady when she comes by. That story and who it was told to you by probably are pretty significant. You might want to write them a letter or just sit down with a cool drink and thank them. And if you ever have to go into some woman's store, be sure you know how to measure the things you be after.